Hello there guys, and welcome back to Let's Learn Civ 5. The end of the last video, we just had some barbarians appear on our borders up here to the northwest, and we also found a barbarian camp down here to the southwest. Both of those need dealing with, so that's what I am going to be working towards right now. I think everyone has pretty much made all of the moves they can, but we are going to try and get people back across the river. So there are a couple of things that I'd like to talk about in this video today. The first thing is going to be about having a plan. You should always try and have a plan whenever you're playing a game of Civ about what you want to do. You only have a limited number of turns, and it's very easy to get caught on the back foot and end up lagging behind everybody else. So you really need to decide what you are going to try and do as regards a victory condition, what type of win you want to go for. Can I take these guys out? Yes, I can. So let's do that. So what you want to do as early as possible, decide what type of win you want to go for, and start building your city upgrades and your tile upgrades to aim towards that type of victory. Now, you might not want to make that decision straight away, because of course you want to know certain things such as who you're up against, what type of map you're on, where the strategic resources are. Sometimes it's just not possible to make the call about which type of victory you're going to go for right at the very start. Now, regardless of what your plan is, the idea is pick a plan and for as long as possible stick to it. There's nothing wrong with having a backup plan. That's perfectly acceptable. Let's just have a look down here. I'm going to move these guys back because I can instantly capture the camp. At least that camp is now out of the way, and these guys can try and heal up while Dublin fires on the barbarians. So pick a plan and for as long as possible stick to it. Only deviate from the plan if you're forced to, or if a better situation presents itself. But have a plan and have a backup as well. I think what I'm going to go for in my game is a scientific victory. The main reason for that is I haven't really talked much about the technology tree in this playthrough so far. Mainly because it's not one of those games where you sort of pick a route and follow it through the tree. The way this technology tree works is it is possible to skip the odd thing out and rush a particular technology, but you're always going to get to the point where you have to come back and get something that you've missed. You have to pretty much research the entire tree at some point. You can't just miss things out. So, for example, I could have chose to miss out sailing. Well, I haven't got sailing at the moment anyway. I haven't researched sailing. But as you can see, I'm already at a position where I can research philosophy and drama and poetry. If I research philosophy, drama and poetry, then I can get theology. I could also get horseback riding, which would then allow me to get civil service. But in order to get civil service, I'd need to get drama and poetry. I'd also need to get mathematics and currency, and that's absolutely fine. As we go a bit further down the tree, theology leads to education, which I also need civil service for to get education. Theology also leads to compass, and I need compass to get astronomy. But in order to get compass, I need to get optics, and in order to get optics, I need to get sailing. So it's pretty much impossible to get right to the very end of the tree without having researched everything further back in the tree. So don't worry too much about which way do I go, do I have to pick a certain route. You will eventually end up researching everything on this tree. And don't be put off by the fact that some of the things at the top end say over 1,000 turns, because as the game goes on, you will actually get more science. If we just get out of that at the moment, you can see currently I'm only getting 11 science per turn. So that 11 science per turn is absolutely fine when we're looking at technologies that have a cost of 134 science, for example. Bronze working has a cost of 68 science, and I'm currently already 66 through, so that'll be completed next turn. Optics has a cost of 109 science, so that's going to take 10 turns. Mathematics has a cost of 134 science, so that would take 13 turns. If you start looking higher up, 1,500 science almost, and then even further up the tree, almost 10,000 science. But by that point in the game, you'll be gaining like 500 science per turn. So I think what I'm going to do is go for a scientific victory. It's one of the victory conditions that I like. And as my backup plan, I will try and get a diplomatic victory. Now, one of the good things about the scientific victory is, as playing as the Celts, I do have a lot of religious advantage, and I could try and use that to my advantage for playing this type of victory, because you can use religion to buy great people such as great scientists, which is also something that I will cover later on. So that's going to be my plan. I'm going to try and go for a... Yeah, I thought they were going to attack me. Well, that's those warriors lost. Never mind, we can build some more at Dublin. Oh well. So, I'm going to try and go for a scientific victory. There's bronze working complete. Which now means I can make my Pictish warrior. So, we will be doing that. Okay, let's try and take these guys out. So, as I was saying, I'll be aiming for a scientific victory, and I will have diplomatic victory as my backup plan. I can't actually see these guys, unfortunately, at the moment, because they're through the trees, which is a real pain. So, I'm going to move a space closer. Still won't be able to hit them, unfortunately, because that's used all of my movement, but let's do that anyway. Can we afford to purchase a Pictish warrior? No, because they cost 260 gold. Well, we'll leave that for now, because we're in no immediate danger from those barbarians. I do need to get a second set of workers up as quick as possible. Now we have 2 cities. We need to start converting and upgrading some of these tiles. I also need to think about starting a 3rd city, which I will probably plonk down here somewhere, maybe on top of this hill, because that will give it a good access to iron and stone. It will be on a hill, so it'll have a defensive bonus, and it will be next to a river. So I think that is what I'm going to do. We're going to adopt another social policy. Producing wonders, 15% production when producing wonders. It's time to get that now. I might as well finish the tradition tree, because adopting all policies in this tradition tree will give me an extra 15% growth rate and a free aqueduct in my first 4 cities. And it allows me to purchase great engineers with faith, which is absolutely brilliant, because obviously, as I said, I get a huge faith bonus playing as the Celts. So being able to use faith to get great engineers means we can quickly finish the production of buildings. So that's what we're going to do. Now we have to choose another sort of technology to get. Now, masonry could be useful, because that allows us to build walls. It also allows us to dig up marble. We can build the pyramids, also the mausoleum of Halicarnassus, which rings a bell. We can also build quarries and clear marshes. Sailing is also useful, but I'm not particularly worried about things overseas at the moment. I'm more concerned about sort of domestic issues. It does allow us to build the cargo ship, but we don't have any cities on the coast yet, so that's not really that important to us. So we are going to go for masonry on this turn, and we shall hit and go for the next turn. So let's just let that resolve. Okay, good. We're going to take the barbarians out with the archers, because then we should get the XP for it. This should be an easy, decisive win. There we go. So the archers gain a little bit of XP. These guys have shown up again, so we're just going to take them straight out using the city itself. Now, going back to what I was saying about having a plan, obviously at this point in the game, I really have only just started to make my plan, and we are 60-something turns in. What I would say is that everybody's plan is going to be the same at the start of the game, and that plan should be to do a bit of exploring, get some map presence, find out where the city-states are, start to find where your allies are, and there we go, we've met another city-state there. Start to explore the map, find the wonders, find the resources, find the ancient ruins. Start to find places to settle new cities and get a 2nd and 3rd city out. Your plan for the first 50 turns at least should always be to expand, explore and grow. It's one of the most important things to get ahead. So that's exactly what we've done. We did get that camp that was down there. So I'm going to have a look up here, being careful to avoid the Egyptians, just in case there is another barbarian camp around, because those guys came from somewhere. So we'll go and have a look and see if we can find them. So let's head for the next turn. So there's the Egyptians moving into position. Something else happening on the end of that turn. Clearing a forest has created 20 construction for Edinburgh. So, you know, it's really, really good being able to chop the trees away. So as you can see, these dies are actually on forests. But if we clear the forest away to put in a plantation, we get 20 construction just for clearing the wood, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, one of my viewers, Nishinku, has asked me if I will cover a little bit more about city-states. And this is actually probably a great time to do it, because city-states are important in the game. We've met a few already. We've got Florence, who we are friendly with. And as you can see, if you ever mouse over a capital city, a city-state, it will tell you what your influence is with them, which is the little two hands shaking over a purple background. So our influence is 38. In order to become allies with them, we need more influence than any other player. And it tells you here quite clearly, each turn your influence will change by -1 and it resets at 0. They do not fear my military and will resist tribute demands. There are no religious followers in the city. So, as you can see, this is a cultured city. There are 3 types of city-states. There's cultured, there's maritime, and there's militaristic. They also have different personalities, which influences the type of missions it will make. So, every now and then they will give you a quest. And quests are basically put out there for anybody to do. Completing that quest will gain you influence with that city. So the quest they have for us at the moment is they want us to demand a tribute from Mombasa. Now, demanding a tribute is known as bullying. So when the quest comes up, it will say Florence wants Mombasa bullied. So what they want me to do is go to Mombasa, who I'm currently neutral with. They want me to go to Mombasa and they want me to ask them for a tribute. So anything that a city-state can provide, you can actually ask them for, which is basically bullying. You're saying, I want you to give me stuff. Doesn't mean that they're going to do it. Now, Mombasa also have a couple of quests here as well. Gold gifts are temporarily more effective, which means if I give them gold, I will get more influence with them than I would usually. And they want me to complete a land or sea trade route to their city, which I could technically do if I had another trade route available. At the moment, I do not. They're not allied with anybody. I'm currently neutral with them. So I'm actually going to ask them for a tribute. Now, these are basically the options that you have. I could take 95 gold from them and I would lose 15 influence, because influence can go into the negative. Or I could enslave a worker and lose 50 influence from them. But the problem is, they need to be more afraid of me than they are resilient. And at the moment, they're not. They're currently resilient minus 135. This is because I don't have that much military power. You know, I have 25 overall military power. I don't have any military near their city-state. And they have a pledge of protection from another civilization. And they have a base reluctance to begin with. So, if you want to demand a tribute from a city, you need to start amassing a military. You also need to start getting a military on their borders. And the fact that they've also got somebody else that's clearly given them a pledge of protection, that's giving them another 20 points in their advantage. So it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to complete that quest. Now, I could give them gold. I don't have an awful lot, but I could give them a gift. In fact, I don't have enough to give them because you need at least 250 gold. So the more gold you give them, the more influence that you earn. I could gift them a unit. And I could also give them gold to improve one of its strategic or luxury resources. There are various other options you get on city-states, and there are various types of reputation level you can have with them. You always start at neutral. As you move into the green and you pass this white line here, you become friends. And then if you get the green line all the way to the top, you become allies. Only one civilization can be an ally of a city-state. If there is more than one civilization that is high enough to be an ally, it will be allied with whichever city-state has the most influence points with them. If you get negative influence with a city-state, you can eventually go to being at war. Though, even if you're at war with them, you can still make a peace declaration. It is possible to go to permanently at war with city-states. This usually only happens if you have been attacking a number of city-states. If you keep attacking city-states...
Es wäre in eurem Interesse, dass ihr dieses Angebot sorgfältig prüft.
Okay, Bismarck wants us to accept embassy. That's absolutely fine. That is a diplomatic agreement which works on both sides, which then allows us to trade other things with each other. So as you can see on the trade menu, you can't really do anything. You can't trade luxury resources or strategic resources, and that's because we don't have an embassy yet. So yeah, I'm quite happy to accept the embassy. Let's do that. So what happens with the influence points you get with a city-state is, as you can see, Florence just went down slightly there, and that's because I haven't done anything. Oh, my Stonehenge is completed, which gives me an extra 5 faith per turn and a great engineer point. So anyway, back to what I was saying. My influence points went down slightly with Florence, and that's because I didn't do anything on this turn to improve it or keep it up. Some civilizations do have slight bonuses. I think it's Alexander and Greece. They actually lose influence points at half speed with city-states. So a city-state's influence will always drop slowly, usually by 1 point until it gets down to 0. It won't drop below 0. If you are friendly or allied with a city-state, you can move your units through their borders without a problem. If you are neutral or below and you move your units into their borders, it will be considered trespassing, and that will gain you more negative effects. So, as I said, there's 3 types of city-states. You've got cultured, you've got maritime, and you've got militaristic. If you are friendly with a city-state, so I'm friends with Florence, Florence will actually give me culture. Every now and then they will give me culture. If I was friendly with a maritime city-state, such as this one, they would give me food from time to time. And if I was friends with a militaristic city-state, I don't know if we've found one yet. The militaristic... Have we got a military one? I think we've only found the 3. So a militaristic state would give us military units every now and then. And I think this is actually the 4th one that was added in Brave New World. Oh yes, of course. The mercantile city-state gives extra happiness, and also a few extra luxury resources. They have a few quests as well there. Destroy nearby barbarian encampment. They want you to defeat the barbarian units that are invading their territory. That is something we can do, actually. There's a barbarian camp just down there, so we'll probably head some units down that way shortly. Don't think I've got enough gold to build those Pictish warriors just yet. But some archers probably wouldn't be a bad idea. So we're going to take some archers and we'll move them down there and hopefully take that barbarian camp out. So I was actually incorrect when I said there were 3 types. There used to be 3 types. There's now a 4th type because the mercantiles were added in Brave New World. So they give you additional happiness. So if you are friendly with a city-state, they will give you whatever it is they have every so many turns. I can't quite remember what the number is. If you are allied with a city-state, they will actually give you more. So you will get more food if you're allied with a maritime state than you would if you were just friends with them. You'll get more culture from a cultured state if you're allied than you would if you were friendly with them. Also, if you're allied, they will also give you their strategic and luxury resources. So if I became Florence's ally, I would get 2 horses and 1 silver from them. So it's always worth becoming allied with city-states. Not only that, being allied with city-states means that you can essentially use their vote in the World Congress or the United Nations when you get that far. Need to make a new production in Edinburgh. I think for now we are going to go for the Great Library. I did say that I wanted to build workers, and I do, but getting a Great Library would be useful because it would give me a science bonus, +3 science, which is absolutely fantastic because I need that if I'm going for a science victory. And it also gives me 1 free technology and provides a free library in the city in which it was built. And I haven't built the library yet, so there's no point in doing that. It also gives me 2 slots for great works of writing, so it's an absolutely brilliant wonder. It is a world wonder, which means only one of them can exist in the world. So let's keep looking up here for barbarians. There are 3 types of wonder in civilization. We have natural wonders, which are things like the Barringer Crater and Mount Kilimanjaro, and whatever the other one was that we found, or Mount Kilash. I thought we found Mount Kilimanjaro at some point. But yeah, natural wonders appear around the world. There's a set number of them per map. And if you discover them, you gain extra happiness. If you work them, you gain extra gold, science, or production, depending on the particular wonder. You also have world wonders, which are things like Stonehenge, the pyramids, the Louvre. And world wonders can only exist one in the game. So it's possible for more than one civilization to start building it. Whichever civilization completes it first gets it. Nobody else can build it after that. If somebody is part way through building a world wonder and somebody else completes it first, the production is cancelled and all of the production points that were spent building it over that number of turns is refunded back to the player as gold. So it's not a total loss if you start to build a wonder and somebody else beats you to it, because you get production back in the form of gold and you can use that gold to buy additional units and additional buildings. Unfortunately, you can't use gold to buy world wonders, but you can use the gold to buy other buildings. So if we actually look at the list, you see wonders don't appear down here, but we can buy other buildings with gold. If you get a great engineer, you can expend the great engineer to give you a lot of construction points, which can help you rush a world wonder to completion. The third type of wonder is a national wonder, and a national wonder means that a civilization can build it in their civ. They can only have one of them per civilization, but it means you can build one and so can somebody else. Okay, my trade route is now ended because trade route only lasts for 10 turns. So I can now re-establish a trade route, and this time I'm going to do it with Mombasa. Now, it doesn't make a lot of difference because I get 2 gold from either of them. I could also now set up a trade route with my own city, with Dublin, and send them 3 food per turn, which would increase their growth rate. But if I establish a trade route with Mombasa, I will be completing one of their little missions, and that should give me some influence with them. National wonders also usually require you to... Oh, embassy request from Egypt. Let's go for that. National wonders also usually require you to have a prerequisite number of buildings in each city. So I think an example would be something like Oxford University. If I wanted to build Oxford University, I would have to have a school in every city that I own, and in order to have a school in a city, I'd also have to have a library in a city. So you do have to keep your eye on what you need for those. Let's start moving these archers down here so we can go and deal with that barbarian camp. It's going to take us a while to get down there anyway. So there are a few other interactions you can have with city-states. As you can see here, we now have 40 influence with Mombasa because we completed that little mission for them. Some of the other things they will ask for, like I said, they will sometimes ask you to bully other city-states. They will ask you to get rid of barbarians for them. They may be being attacked by another civilization, which they will ask for help for. You can also pledge to protect. Obviously, of course, you can just declare war with them, but you wouldn't really want to do that. But you can pledge to protect a city-state. What pledging to protect does is you make a public declaration to all other civilizations that that city-state is under your protection. That gives the city-state a bit of an extra bonus against other civilizations trying to ask them for demand a tribute from them. But it does mean that if another civilization does try and attack them, you are obliged to come to their aid. If you don't defend them, and after you've pledged to protect them, then the other civilizations start to publicly denounce you because you are not doing your job. So only be prepared to pledge protection to a city-state if you've actually got the military grounds and resources to back that up. Later on in the game, when we start to get the espionage system, you have other ways of gaining and adjusting the influence on city-states, because you can essentially use spies to try and rig elections and eventually enact coups within the city-states to change who their ally is. But that's something I'll actually cover when I get to that point in the game. So that's pretty much all you can do with city-states, really, although it is quite a long list of things you can do. They are very, very important for the game, particularly if you're going for what my secondary objective is going to be, which is a diplomatic victory, if the science one doesn't work out, because the more city-states you have allied with you, and there's Masonry finished, the more city-states you have allied with you, the more votes you will get in the World Congress and the United Nations. So we've got some spearmen here. Can't really do an awful lot about them at the moment. I'm going to move onto the hill because that will put me on the high ground. Hopefully take them out on the next turn. Need to choose a new research now. I'm going to go for sailing because sailing's only going to be 6 turns away. We've got to get it done at some point, so I might as well do it now and get that done out of the way quickly. Edinburgh's going to grow again on the next turn, which will increase its production. Dublin's borders have started to increase slightly. We can move these guys out a little bit further and hopefully keep heading our way towards that barbarian camp. Unfortunately, barbarians plundered a trade route established between Edinburgh and Mombasa. So somewhere along here, in fact there they are right there, are barbarians, and they've actually stolen our caravan, which is not a good thing. So we are going to have to take those out. Can't really afford to buy any units at the moment, so we'll just have to keep our eye on them and see what's going to happen. Now, we had bumped into the Egyptians and we'd also bumped into Germany, but we were unable to see where their capital cities were on the map. Fortunately, now they've accepted embassy with us, we can actually see Berlin and we can see Thebes on the map, so we know where both of them are. Not an awful lot we can do about these barbarians at the moment unless we divert these archers, which I don't really want to do because I'd sooner just go out here and deal with the camp and nip the problem in the bud. I don't really think there's an awful lot of things these barbarians can do. I mean, they could pillage that farm possibly, but if they get close enough to the city, I can do some damage to them. So I'm not going to do anything to them just yet. What I am going to try and do is take these guys out if I can with my archers and my warriors, because there's probably going to be another barbarian camp up here somewhere. It's going to be a minor victory, not a great one, but it's well worth giving them a good firm smack just to assert our position. Next turn we should have them unless they run away, although yeah, they're pretty limited for where they can go, but they could try and do a run, so let's let them do that. So I will cover more about city-states as the game progresses and I actually get more city-states to interact with. Okay, so the Egyptians have the highest happiness. Germans are number 3 and I'm number 4. Not brilliant. A great prophet has been born in Edinburgh. Now that's actually a fantastic thing. Right, we should be able to plink at those, although we're a little bit too far away. We should be able to hit them from here. In fact, I think I could have hit them from there. So there we go. Archers didn't... Oh, they got a little bit of XP. Not an awful lot, of course. Ah, crap. Right, not a lot I can do about that. We'll have to sort that out on the next turn, but that barbarian camp definitely needs clearing. We are going to take a shot at these barbarians. They did pillage my farm, which is a real shame. What I want to do is... Right, great profits. Great profits you get from your faith points, and there are 2 things you can do with a great profit. You can use it to spread religion if you have one, or if you don't have one, you can use it to create one, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to found a religion. So the way founding a religion works, just for people that aren't sure, there are a limited number of religions that can be founded in a game. So as it says there, if I hover over faith, right at the bottom it says religions that can still be founded, 6. Nobody else has founded a religion yet. People have actually founded pantheons, but no religions. So the first thing you want to do is select a religion. Now, as you can see, if you mouse over them, they've got names: Buddhism, Catholicism, Hinduism, Islam, Judaism. So you pick one of these. Now, don't worry about the name. All you're essentially doing is choosing the icon, because you can edit the name of the religion and you can edit what the religion does. So if I pick the Protestantism, for example, it will give me the cross. But I can click here to customize the name. And I can give it whatever name I want it to. You have a sort of pantheon that you start with, which is when we first got enough faith to pick a pantheon, and we picked fertility rites. And then we can pick a founder belief, which is a bonus for the founder's civilization. So this bonus here will only affect me and my civilization. So I could have 1 global happiness for every 2 cities following the religion, 2 gold for every 2 gold per turn for every city following the religion, 100 gold when each city first converts to the religion, gain science when a missionary or prophets spread this religion to cities or other religions. Well, we want to go for a science victory, and we do have a lot of faith generation, which means we should be able to get missionaries and prophets quite easily. So I'm going to go for that one. And then a follower belief is a bonus for the cities that follow the religion. So if you look down here, you can see what we have. Shrines provide an extra happiness in cities with 3 or more followers. Cathedrals, we can use faith to purchase cathedrals, which give us additional faith, culture and happiness. We could go for choral music, where temples provide us with an extra 2 culture. I don't know if there's anything here that gives us additional science. I don't think there is. But I personally like this one, Swords into Plowshares. 15% faster growth rate when your city is not at war. I generally don't like to go to war. I like to try and stay peaceful as much as possible for as long as possible. So that is great for a little bit of extra growth. Again, all of these options are 1 per religion. So once you've selected one, nobody else can select that one. They're stuck with whatever is left. Later on, we can enhance our religion and get a second follower belief and an enhancer belief and a bonus belief. But I'm going to found religion. Yes, Voltology. That is now a thing. And we have a religion. And as you can see, the little lightning strike, which I'd have actually preferred as my religious icon because I think it works quite well. But the little lightning strike, which symbolifies a pantheon, has now disappeared and has been replaced by my religious symbol, because there are 6 followers of Voltology and 2 followers of just the pantheon. So they are essentially... can't remember the word for it now. Having a brain fart. If we look down here at Dublin, you can see Dublin just has people following the pantheon down there. So we will eventually, using trade routes and prophets or missionaries, spread our religion down to Dublin, and then we'll have another city following that religion. And that will again help us to generate more faith, because we are currently getting 10 per turn. Units need orders. I'm going to keep moving these guys down, try and deal with that barbarian camp if we can. We'll have to deal with these barbarians in the next turn or so. I've moved my workers out of the way so they can't get at the workers. We'll have to go and repair that farm. But that shouldn't be too much of a problem. So we founded a religion. We've discovered the barbarian camp, which is the one at top. We've dealt with our great prophet. Dublin has grown. The enemy's been spotted in our borders. And Mombasa has completed its project, which means the amount of influence gained from gold gifts has returned to normal. Okay, so on the next video, when we come back, we'll be dealing with these barbarians here and repairing. We'll hopefully be dealing with these barbarians up here. We are going to try and get another settler over here somewhere and set up our 3rd city. We're also going to try and get some workers and start to improve some of these tiles so we can get additional resources. And then we're going to continue exploring while trying to get as many of the city-states on side as possible. So until next time, thanks for watching. I hope you're still enjoying this series. And as before, if there are any things that you would like me to cover specifically, either send me a message or drop it in the comments. I will try and cover it, but it may be something that I can only cover when I get to a specific point in the game. It's sometimes difficult to actually explain the way something works if I don't have it on screen and I can't actually show you some of the numbers and show you some of the interactivity. So if it's something sort of late game, I probably won't be able to do it in the next video, but certain things like I did with the city-states for this video, for example, I can just sort of cover as and when I come to them. But again, I'll tend to go over things more than once as the series goes on, because it is quite complicated, and you know, the state of play does change from sort of turn to turn on this game, and that is one of those things with grand strategies. So again, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Until then, goodbye for now.